Assalamu alaikum. My name is Fatima Kausar and I am educator at Spark Academy, Bangalore. So before you learn from me, I want you all to be confident about that you are learning from a right person. So I want myself to be introduced to you. So my name is Fatima Kausar and I have scored 94.7% in my SSLC examination, and in the science and mathematics I have scored 99 in science and in mathematics and 100. So in first PUC I have scored 97.8% and in second PUC I have scored 94.8% and I am a science student. So you can be totally confident about studying science and mathematics for your SSLC examination from me. So as I have mentioned in the previous video, let me start with the science plan that I had mentioned in that video. So according to my plan, I had divided science for the 3 days. So I will be doing in the stepwise form so that the students are able to follow me. So in science there are 3 topics, that is biology, chemistry and physics. So there are important points that the students have to keep in mind while they are preparing for the SSLC science examination. So those points each day I will be covering each day bio, chemistry and physics. And there are totally 12 laws and 13 differences. Differences in the sense like what is the difference between the ammeter and the voltmeter, that kind of questions. I have aggregated them in a particular form so that it is easy for you all to follow up. So there are 13 total according to the syllabus of the SSLC. So totally I will make you study about all these laws and differences. So each day, that is day 1, day 2 and the day 3 as I have planned. In day 1 I will be covering the bio important points as well as 4 laws and the 4 differences and following the same plan. So that at the end of these 3 days you will be able to score 50 marks for sure. And additionally, if you are studying the diagrams, if you want me to do the diagrams also in a simplified form, then please comment below so that I can carry out the same session for you all. So let us start with the class. So let me start with the biology passing package. The first question is from the lesson life processes, and steps involved in photosynthesis. So I think everyone is having an idea at the end. You are studying for the exam, so you will be having an idea what the question actually is. It is a big answer. You will be either getting for the 3 mark or for a 4 mark. So in this question, you have to write it in a point form so that the examiner can view it easily, and that examiner has to not ponder upon that what you have written. So let me explain you how you are going to write. The first step to write this question is explaining the types of reactions which occurs here. The first step is light reaction, dark, and the equation, photosynthetic equation. These 3 steps, if these 3 headings are there in your answer, then the examiner will not look into the detail and he will give you the marks. Light reaction, dark reaction, photosynthetic equation. So what is this 3? Light reaction, the reaction which occurs in the presence of light. Where is it occurring? In the thylakoid region of chloroplast. In thylakoid region. And this dark reaction, it occurs in the absence of light and in the stroma region of the chloroplast. So these 2 are the regions of chloroplast. Thylakoid is the region which consists of the pigment called as chlorophyll. Okay. Stroma is the region which does not consist of any fluid as the thylakoid is considering. If we speak about the functions, what under light reaction and dark reaction is happening, then I will explain you. So this is the 2 points which you have to remember. Light reaction occurs in the presence of light and it occurs in the thylakoid region of chloroplast. If you want to add it one more point, you can write thylakoid consists of the chlorophyll pigment which helps in trapping the light energy. The dark reaction occurs in the absence of light and it occurs in the stroma part of a chloroplast. Now what is this photosynthetic equation? So as you all know that the plants require carbon dioxide and water for the photosynthetic process. So first write down that. Formula of carbon dioxide and water, H2O, in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. This reaction should be written very accurately because the examiner will look into the balancing as well as these two things which occur, because this in the absence of sunlight and chlorophyll the reaction is not going to occur. To balance this equation, I will teach you some tricks so that you remember it easily. So, C6H12O6, you will be already remembering the formula of the glucose. So, C6. So, in this first form, add 6. Then H12. Beside H, write down 12. Then remaining is 6. Add this 6 to these 2. Your reaction is balanced. So remember it in this form so that you can write the accurate equation. This part is completely done. Now you need to explain these two. What are the functions of light reaction? Since it consists of the chlorophyll pigment which helps in trapping the light energy, it helps in absorption of light energy. Absorption of light energy, then conversion. Once it is absorbed, it has to be converted into the chemical energy. Next is the splitting of water molecule. Formation of ATP. This is for the light reaction. Absorption of light energy, once it is absorbed, it is converted into a chemical energy. Now, this part is for the light and this is the water molecule. What is happening with the water molecule? Once this water molecule is being splitted, you will get oxygen and hydrogen. Now you must be thinking that I am telling that water molecule will be split into hydrogen and oxygen, but we are getting here water and oxygen. So how this water is formed? It will again combine with the atmospheric oxygen and it will be converted into the water. So here after splitting, these two only will be formed. But due to the presence of oxygen in the atmosphere, it will again combine with it and it will be released in the form of water. Okay. So splitting is done, then formation of ATP. Now ultimately why the photosynthesis process is occurring in the plant? To gain the energy for their food, for their survival. So this is the main purpose for the photosynthesis to occur. The formation of the ATP takes place because of which the plants gain their energy as their food. Now dark reaction is simple. In dark reaction, only reduction occurs of carbon dioxide into carbohydrates. Here in the reaction itself, now carbon dioxide is there, it is reduced to glucose, which is a carbohydrate. Stroma region is responsible for the dark reaction. That dark reaction helps in reducing the carbon dioxide into carbohydrates. So let me simplify this everything. Light reaction, two forms: occurs in presence of light, occurs in thylakoid region, occurs in absence of light, occurs in stroma region. Then this equation you need to write. Functions, what actually happen in the light reaction, remember as ACSF. That is absorption, conversion, splitting of the water molecule, formation of the ATP. This is done, and everything is, you will explain everything in the light reaction itself. What is remaining? Carbon dioxide. This occurs in the dark reaction, reduction of the carbon dioxide into carbohydrates. This answer is simplified for you. Now let me go to the next answer. So the next answer is from the same chapter, life process, digestive process. This also will be coming for 3 marks or for the 4 marks. Digestive process, you need to explain that in a detail. Remember, in the 3 forms: organ, enzyme or fluid. Then the food. What is actually happening to the food? So as you eat, the first part the food reaches is mouth. So mouth. Mouth consists of the fluid called as saliva, and in saliva the enzyme is present which is called salivary amylase. Now what the salivary amylase does? It will break the starch into sugar. If you are eating rice, then it is a starch content, so the starch will be broken down into sugar in your mouth itself. So this function has been done by this enzyme. Now you have explained about the mouth. This is enough for the mouth. Then after the mouth, the food reaches esophagus, that is the food pipe. Now esophagus has to just facilitate the movement of the food towards the stomach by peristaltic movement. This is a special type of movement through which the food reaches the stomach. It is known as peristaltic movement. No enzyme is involved in esophagus. Then it reaches to stomach. In stomach, there are many types of gastric juices present. Gastric juices, these juices which are present in the stomach part. 3 types are there. One is pepsin, then HCl, then mucus. Now what is the individual functions of these? Pepsin is an enzyme which helps in conversion of proteins into amino acids. This will be broken down. Proteins are broken down by them. HCl creates acidic media. This acidic media will help in further acidic reaction which occurs in the body apart from the digestion process. Mucus protects inner lining of stomach. Now after stomach, the food reaches intestine. Now first it reaches to the small intestine, then to the large intestine. Small intestine. This intestine consists of 3 types of components, that is intestinal enzyme, liver and pancreas. Now, intestinal enzyme helps in 3 processes, that is carbohydrates are made into glucose, then proteins into amino acids, and fats into fatty acids, and glycerol. Intestinal enzymes helps in these 3. Carbohydrates are converted into glucose, proteins are converted into amino acid, fats are converted into fatty acids and glycerol. Now what does these 2 does? Liver helps in conversion of large fat molecules into small fat molecules. molecules or globules. Then pancreas consists of two types of enzymes, lipase and trypsin. Now what does the lipase does? It will convert the proteins into peptones. Trypsin is converted into fat molecules. Trypsin helps in conversion of the fat molecules by breaking it down. Now the other part the food reaches is, so the next part where the food reaches is large intestine. This doesn't have any enzymes, it will just absorb the water, absorb the excess water. Then finally the food reaches the anus, from where the waste material is excreted. If you write the answer in this form itself, in the column form, then you will get the same mark. Instead of writing in a paragraph and making it lengthy, you can write in a column form itself, so that you will be remembering it easily, and it is easy for the evaluator also to evaluate. Okay, so this is the important answer which can come for the 3 mark or for the 4 mark. So the next answer is breakdown of glucose by various pathways. This various pathway, it is a diagram is given in the textbook. You can write the as it is diagram if this question is asked. No explanation, just the reaction, and you will get a proper marks for that. And the next answer is, what are the components of blood? There are 4 components, that is WBCs, RBCs, platelets and plasma. RBCs will carry the oxygen and carbon dioxide. WBCs will help in the clotting of blood, and the platelets will give you the defense against the foreign particles if it is introduced in your body by engulfing that germs. Okay. Now what is the blood plasma? What is blood plasma actually? It is a yellow color fluid which consists of 90% of water and 10% of organic substance. You just have to mention what actually the blood plasma is, and there is no function given in your syllabus, so you need not mention about that. So this is the complete answer. Even this can be asked for a 3 mark at least, because this answer is important. So you can write only this much. If you want a particular notes about whatever I have mentioned it, then comment below. I will be providing you with the PDF form notes. Okay. Now the next answer is the processes of excretion in plants. How the plants excrete by various forms, like in the form of oxygen and carbon dioxide is diffused through the part called as stomata. Then excess water, whatever is released in the photosynthetic process. Like you have seen in the previous reaction that the water was found as a byproduct. Now that excess water is removed by the plant by the process called as transpiration. Now the next point is the plants will excrete their waste in the form of the leaves and the barks of the trees. The barks which appear on the tree, if it is getting separated, then it means that the plant is excreting that waste. Okay. Then the other form which they will excrete is the resins and gums, and it especially occurs in the old xylem cell, which can also be lost by the plants. You can only mention the plants excrete in the forms of resins and gums. You will get the answer you will get the marks for that answer also. The next is some waste is also excreted in the soil, like from the roots also they excrete the fluid, which is till now it has not been mentioned for your syllabus. You can just write, it can be also mentioned. It can also be secreted. They will secrete some waste that is released into the soil. Now totally there are 5 points. The gases, oxygen and carbon dioxide, then the excess water through transpiration, then by old parts of the plant such as leaves, bark of a tree, then resins and gums, then the other waste is released into the soil. your answer is complete, you can write in the points and you will get the full marks. Now the other last answer for the life process is the process of formation of urine. It is the important answer, and many of the guides and other schools have given the lengthy answer for that. You need not write so much, you can write in just 3 points and you will get a complete marks, even if it is for the 4 marks. No extra elaboratively you need to write it. The first step for the formation of urine is globular filtration. Globular filtration, nitrogenous waste, glucose water, amino acids are filtered by the Bowman's capsule of the nephron. In globular filtration, what is being removed? What is being removed? Nitrogenous waste, glucose, water, and amino acids from the blood into the Bowman's capsule. From the blood, all these 3 components will reach to the Bowman's capsule of the nephron. Now the next step is tubular reabsorption. The part of a nephron is known as tubular. Now this waste is being absorbed by the tube-like form of the nephron, so that the useful materials are again absorbed by that tubules to form the concentrated urine. Then secretion. Now now everything is, the blood is passed to the Bowman's capsule. The Bowman's capsule will give the waste to the tubules. The tubules will again reabsorb the useful products, and then it will reach to the final process, that is secretion. Urea, excess water, salts are secreted into the tubule, which open up into a collecting duct and into the ureter. Finally, urea, extra water and salts are present. At present, it is in the tubules. Now from the tubules, it will reach to the collecting duct, and from there it will reach the ureter, which will reach to the bladder, and finally the urine is formed and is been secreted. Only in these 3 steps you can explain the formation of urine. That is globular filtration, tubular filtration, and secretion. Globular occurs by the help of Bowman's capsule. When the blood with the nitrogenous waste, glucose waste, and the amino acid waste is being passed through the Bowman's capsule, then that Bowman's capsule will secrete a liquid which is passed to the tubular form. The next step, that is tubular reabsorption. The name itself suggests you that the excess water is being reabsorbed by them, excess material is being reabsorbed by them again, and finally these tubules will leave the liquid which is secreted into the collecting duct, and then finally it reaches to the ureter, which is linked with the urinary bladder, and then the urine is been excreted. So this was the end of the life processes chapter. Now we will be focusing on the another chapter. So let us move on. So let us move to the another chapter called as control and coordination. The first important question is, what is reflex arc, and write its pathway. So reflex arc is a pathway or the kind of direction which is followed by the nerve impulses when the reflex action occurs. Okay, now you need to write it in a flowchart form, like stimulus, sense organ, sensory neuron, spinal cord, then relay neuron, then motor neuron, then effector, response. So this is the pathway of a reflex action. Stimulus means what actually is happening, the change in the environment, the sudden change in the environment of the human being is known as stimulus. Then sense organ, that 5 sense organ we have, which we have been known since childhood, that is sense organs. Then sensory neuron. Neuron is something which is present in your nerves. Often the students get confused between the nephron and the neuron. So nephron is present in the formation of the urine. It is present there. It doesn't come here. Neuron is something which is present in your nerves. Okay. So sensory neuron. Then there is spinal cord, which links the brain to your, which has the brain, and you are called vertebrates only because of the spinal cord. Then it is moved to the relay neuron. What is relay neuron? The neuron which comes between the sensory neuron and the motor neuron is known as the relay neuron. Now what is this motor neuron? It helps that action to happen. Like if you are touching something, if you need to withdraw the hand, then it is necessary for you to pass the stimulus through the motor neurons. So after motor neurons, the stimulus is stimulus is passed to the effector. Now if you are touching the hot object from your hand, then the signal is received by the hand that something is going to happen to this organ. So effector, it reaches to your hand, then response happens, that you withdraw the hand. Just like a few seconds, these all things happen when you are exposed to such things in your environment. First, stimulus, sense organ, something is happening, the sense organ senses it, sends the signal to the sensory neuron, then to the spinal cord, then to the relay neuron, then to the motor neuron, then effector, then response. Now how will you remember this? There are 4 S. These S you need to remember it in your sequence form, like stimulus, sense organ. Stimulus, now under the sense organ, skin also comes under the sense organ. So the skin is sensing it, so sense organ. Then sensory neuron, from here itself you can extract and write sensory neuron. Then to the spinal cord, after it passes from your hand, it will reaches to your spinal cord. S. Okay. Then R, M, E, R. Okay. Stimulus, sensory sense organs, sensory neurons, this one spinal cord, then to the relay neuron, then to the motor neuron, then to the effector, then to the response. Okay, this is the pathway of the reflex arc. Now let me move to the next answer, that is the human brain. Explain the parts and functions of the human brain. Now basically the human brain comprises of 3 parts: forebrain, midbrain and the hindbrain. These parts you need to remember and you need to explain their functions. So forebrain, the forepart of a brain, forebrain helps in thinking of a person. Okay, forebrain is involved in thinking process. Then if someone is thinking, then they will get the ability to control the action. So it will control the voluntary action, the action which we think and take a step, right? So that is known as voluntary action. Involuntary, that occurs suddenly, like withdrawing your hand from the hot vessel, that is involuntary action. So thinking, controlling the voluntary actions, storing the information. Like if it is a processing. If you are thinking something, if I want to go from here to there, then I will think it, then I am working it, and this data will be stored in my mind. This is happening because of the forebrain, and these are 3 functions of it. Remember it in a sequence, like thinking, controlling, storing. Thinking, controlling the voluntary actions. Thinking part, it is a thinking part of the brain. Like whenever someone thinks, then it is sure that the person is thinking from his forebrain. Only that part of a brain is involved in the of the brain in thinking process. Okay. then controlling, then storing the information. So this was the functions of forebrain. Now what does the midbrain do? It controls the involuntary action. The midbrain is responsible for controlling the involuntary actions, like change in pupil size. What might make the change of pupil size in your eye? The intensity of the light which is passing through your eye. If the person is in dark, then the pupil of the eye expands in order to collect more light, so that the formation of the images are clear. But if you are in the light region itself, the size of your pupil will be smaller. So that is controlled by your midbrain. So the next is reflex movements of head, neck and trunk. Now someone hits you on the head, you will suddenly turn back. Will you think that I have to turn back, I have to reply? You will not think, right? So that is the reflex movements of head, neck and also the trunk. Okay. So these the involuntary actions. Midbrain is responsible for the involuntary actions, change in pupil size and the involuntary movement of your head, neck and the trunk. Now hindbrain. Hindbrain comprises of three parts, that is cerebellum, medulla and pons. Many of the students get the confused between what is cerebrum and cerebellum. The cerebellum is a part of a hindbrain. Cerebrum will be considered as a forebrain. Okay, don't get confused in that. It is the cerebellum. Cerebellum comes under the hindbrain. Now what is cerebellum? It controls the posture and the balance of your body. If somebody is wobbling around, then it is known that the person's cerebellum is affected, because the cerebellum is responsible for maintaining the balance and the posture of the body. Okay. Now precision of the voluntary actions. Now how precisely you will do it? Now if a pen is kept over your table, you will directly go and pick it. So how precisely you are doing it? If that was not controlled by your cerebellum, then you would have gone from the other way and taken the pen. So it is important that cerebellum controls your voluntary actions and the posture and balance of the body. So the next part is medulla. Medulla controls the involuntary actions. Now you might be thinking that midbrain also controls the involuntary action. Medulla is also controlling the involuntary actions. In involuntary action, there are two types. Like one is something what I explained to you, that is withdrawing the hand from the heart vessel. That is controlled by midbrain itself. Now involuntary actions like blood pressure, salivation, the vomiting sensation, that all is controlled by the medulla part of your brain. So the next is pons. Involuntary actions are controlled and regulation of the respiration. Again, here the involuntary actions here refers to the processes which occurs in your body, like respiration process, your digestion process, everything is controlled by pons. So these were the part of a brain. If you want the notes what I am explaining from, it is the passing package which we have made it. Please comment below so that we can give it to you in a PDF form, and you can register it and get into the WhatsApp group by messaging on our WhatsApp number. Okay. So the next answer is, what are the different plant hormones and its functions? Okay. So what are the first plant hormones? Auxins, gibberellins, cytokinins and abscisic acid. Like when I was in SSLC, I used to remember this hormones like A, G, C, A. Now first C, C, A, I used to remember like this. Then G, A, G, C, A. Auxins, gibberellins, cytokinins, abscisic acid. Okay, so these are the four hormones. This will come for the 4 marks. All these answers which I am covering up is the bigger answers and not the smaller answers. Sometimes from this itself you can get the 2 markers and the 1 markers. Like write one plant hormone, write 2 plant hormones. Name the 2 plant hormones. You can write it from this answer itself. So it is important for you all to make it very thorough with the answers which I am explaining you, in order to at least score 50 marks by at the end of this 3 days program for the science revision. Okay. Now, what is auxins? Auxins is a plant hormone which helps in, now what is it functioning? It is synthesized at the shoot tip. What is the shoot and the root? Root is something which is present inside the soil, and shoot is something which is above the soil, and which it comprises of all the leaves and stem and all. So it is a shoot. It is synthesized at the shoot tip, then helps in the cells to grow longer. Now, how will the cells grow longer? By the cell division or by some other process which is not mentioned in your syllabus, like helps in the cells to grow longer. Okay, involved in phototropism. Phototropism occurs due to the presence of auxins. Phototropism, like the action or the action which is shown by the plants towards the light. Phototropism, photolight tropism movement, the movement which is shown by the plants towards the light. All these three functions are controlled by the auxins. Like it is synthesized at the root tip, then it helps the cells to grow longer, then it is involved in the phototropism. Now, what is gibberellins? Gibberellins helps in the growth of the stem. G, like gibberellins, G for gibberellins and G for growth of the stem. But only one function is performed, that is gibberellins perform only one function, that is the growth of the stem. Now, what is cytokinins? Now, from C, it is cell division. It promotes cell division. Cytokinins promote cell division, and it is present more in the concentration in the fruits as well as in the seeds. Like cell division occurs due to the cell it promotes cell division, and it is mainly present in a higher concentration in the fruits and in the seeds. Now, if this is the mango season, so if you want to buy a mango, usually the mango will be injected with the cytokinins so that it looks plumpier, and it is the hormone which is making it look plumpier. Okay, so the next hormone is abscisic acid. It inhibits the growth. Like what? Why will it inhibit the growth? If there is some length of a plant, there is some height of a plant over which it has to stop growing. So if it keeps growing, then all the functions of the plant will be disturbed. So this abscisic acid inhibits the growth, cause wilting of leaves. Okay, let me explain you this. This is G for growth, C for cell division, A for aging. Aging of a plant occurs due to the abscisic acid presence. Like it will inhibit the growth. If the growth of the plant is inhibited, then it is sure that the plant is going to die. And causing of wilting of leaves. Now you might have seen the leaves getting folded at the tips. So that is called as wilting of the leaves. Now aging occurs due to the abscisic acid. C, cytokinins promote cell division and is found in fruits and seeds. Then gibberellins helps in growth of the stem, and this abscisic acid, you need to remember, like it is synthesized. Where is it synthesized? It is synthesized at the shoot tip. Then the cells it helps the cells to grow longer. Then it is involved in the phototropism. Now this was the answer for the different plant hormones and their functions. You can get this for the 3 mark or the 4 mark, or also for the 2 mark. Explain the functions of auxins, or mention any 2 types of the plant hormones and mention its functions. So you can write this for the 4 marks. If you are writing each one of them and explaining their functions, then surely you are going to get the marks. You need not elaborate that and write a essay type answers. Write it precisely, simply, in a simple words, so that you can gain marks. Science is something which you should be precise about. Languages you can elaborate in any other way, but science, be precise. Whatever you have studied, just write those points. Don't elaborately write it like promote cell division. Cell division is the division of cells. You need not write that. Just write out promote cell division. Don't elaborate because since you people are approaching for the first time for the examination, board examination, so many people would have said that if examiner sees the full papers, the elaborated answer, then that person is going to give you the marks. That is the wrong myth which the people believe in. You should write the precise answers for the science especially, so that you are able to gain the marks. Elaborating the answers will never gain you the marks, because the examiner will be sitting there and would have to correct the lots and lots of papers. Looking into your elaborated essay type answers, he will not feel like giving you the marks itself. So better write it precisely and write it in a simple words whichever you are remembering in. Okay, now let's move to the other question. what is endocrine glands, mention the different types of endocrine glands, hormone and their function. Now there are 6 types of endocrine glands. Like first is pituitary gland. It consists of a growth hormone. Like see, in our notes we have made it in a tabular form. All the big answers are in the tabular form, so that if you just view it, glance it once, you will be able to remember the answers. Like gland, hormone, location, function. Gland, hormone, location, function. Gland, name of a gland, hormone, which hormone is present in the secreted by that gland, then location, where is it present, function, what function does it perform by its presence. Now first is pituitary gland. It secretes growth hormone and it is present in the hypothalamus of the midbrain. Okay, the hypothalamus of the midbrain, it is present in that part. Now what is its function? Growth hormone. So it will, what will it do? It will regulate the growth and development. That's it. So thyroid, the next gland is thyroid. The hormone which is secreted by that gland is thyroxine. It is present in the throat region and it regulates the metabolism of carbohydrates, fats and proteins. Okay. So the next gland is adrenal, and the hormone secreted by its is adrenaline, and it is present above the kidneys. Now when you are drawing the diagram, you must have seen that there is something which we write it. Like if the kidneys are in this way, we write it something like this. This is the location of the adrenal gland. So what will it do? It will regulate the blood pressure, heartbeat, carbohydrates, metabolism during emergency situation. Like adrenaline is known as the emergency hormones. It will secrete the emergency hormones. Like if you are in some frightful situation, then it will increase the blood pressure, so that your mind starts working faster and you gain that energy, because you will see, if you are running very fast, you will start panting. So that is something which is occurring due to the presence of adrenal gland in you. It is giving you that it is regulating the blood pressure. It is increasing your heartbeat. The carbohydrate metabolism is also regulated by it, and this all happens in the emergency situation. Now the next gland is pancreas. Now pancreas secretes the insulin, which is present below your stomach. Pancreas you will be writing right in the digestive system. Like this is the liver. This is your intestine. This is something as stomach, and pancreas comes like this. So it is present below your stomach. Okay. So it will regulate the blood sugar level. Pancreas is known to insulin. You must have heard about the insulin shots. So it is meant to regulate the blood sugar level. Okay. Then next gland is testis, which secretes the hormone called as testosterone, and it is present in the lower abdomen. This hormone is present in the men, and it is associated with the puberty, and it maintains the secondary sexual characters in males. Same that kind of hormone is present in the females. That is in the ovaries. It secretes the hormone called as estrogen, and even the location of that hormone is in that. Even the location of that hormone is the same, that is lower abdomen, and it is in same functions as that of the testosterone. Changes associated with puberty and maintain secondary sexual characters in the females. So this was the answer of the endocrine gland. So the next answer is hormone deficiency disorders. So what happens when the certain hormones are absent in you, and what disorders it can cause? And this answer also might come, like explain dwarfism, explain gigantism, or explain some hormonal deficiency disorders. So what is the hormonal disorder? First, even in this we have made it in the form like hormone disorder. What are its causes? What are its remedies? What can you follow in order to get rid of this disorder? The first disorder is dwarfism. Now, what is dwarfism? It happens due to the absence of the deficiency of the growth hormone in the childhood, leads to dwarfism. Like if you are not the hormone called as the growth hormone, which was initially present in the pituitary gland, then the person is more likely to undergo the deficiency, undergo the dwarfism. So the other hormonal disorder is gigantism, which occurs due to the excess secretion of the growth hormone, which is going to lead to the hormonal disorder called as gigantism. Like you would have seen the people with whose age is very less, but they appear very tall. So the unusual height people are exposed to this kind of the hormone disorder. So this also can be cured by the hormone therapy itself. Now this the other hormonal deficiency disorder is the simple goiter, which is goiter you would have actually seen it, which occurs due to the deficiency of the thyroxine. Like if you are taking the salt quantity is not the required amount, or if it is more or if it is less, then this happens. Due to the absence of the thyroxine or deficiency in the thyroxine hormone, it leads to the swelling of the thyroid gland, which is present in your neck. Then your neck will appear, the people who are exposed to this kind of hormone disorder, their neck will be swelled, so swollen. So this is that swollen part is due to the deficiency disorder that is called as simple goiter. So what can be the use? What can be the solution for this? It is taking the iodine-rich food. If you are taking the iodine-rich food, then it is then it can be cured. Your goiter can be cured. Now the other hormonal disorder is diabetes, which occurs due to the increased blood sugar level. Like if your blood sugar level is increased, then diabetes occurs due to the deficiency of the insulin. So if the insulin amount in your body is less, then you are most prone to the diabetes. Now this can be cured by taking the injection of the insulin hormone, that is insulin shots. So this is the end of the important questions under the chapter called as control and coordination.